Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. And don't forget to listen to the end of the story, guys, to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I've always believed that siblings should have each other's backs. That's what movies and books taught me, at least. But that's not the relationship I had with my sister, Sarah. She was older, louder, and seemingly incapable of being kind. To her, my life was a canvas she could paint with her cruel jokes and schemes. While other older siblings might offer guidance or protection, Sarah only seemed interested in one thing, making me feel small. It started when we were kids. I remember being 6 years old and showing her a drawing I was proud of. It was a messy crayon rendition of a dog, but I thought it was pretty good for a first grader. Sarah laughed and told me it looked like a smashed potato with legs. She then proceeded to show the drawing to my parents, my grandparents, and anyone else who would look, making sure everyone knew how terrible it was. I was embarrassed and cried, but she just kept laughing. When we got older, the pranks escalated. By the time we were in middle school, Sarah had perfected the art of public humiliation. She would accidentally read aloud my diary entries to her friends, make fun of my clothes, and mimic my voice in the most exaggerated way possible. If I had a crush on someone, she'd find out and make sure that person knew about it, usually in the most embarrassing way. I remember her walking up to a boy I liked and saying, "Hey, she stares at you during lunch because she's obsessed with you." I wanted to disappear. High school, though, was when she took her cruelty to new heights. It wasn't just teasing or embarrassing me. She actively sabotaged me. When I got involved in student council, Sarah made a point to spread rumors that I only joined because I had a crush on one of the older council members. At every opportunity, she'd tell people that I was only participating to chase boys, and not because I cared about the school. I worked hard, and my teacher saw my potential, but it was always undermined by Sarah's constant whispering campaigns. She made sure that no matter what I achieved, it was always tainted by her lies. But the most shocking thing she did involved my high school boyfriend, Alex. Alex and I started dating when we were juniors. He was kind, from a well-off family. For the first time in years, I felt truly happy. That happiness, of course, didn't sit well with Sarah. She didn't just spread rumors, she went nuclear. She started telling people at school that I was only with Alex for his money, that I didn't even find him attractive. When people didn't seem to believe her, she faked a message from me where I supposedly admitted that I was using Alex for his family's wealth and status. The message found its way to Alex, and when he confronted me, I was horrified. I denied it, of course, but the damage was done. He believed the message, and we broke up. I was heartbroken, but not just because I lost Alex, but because I knew Sarah had engineered the whole thing. After high school, I had to get away. I moved to another state, built a career, and met my now husband, David. He's successful, driven, and, yes, financially comfortable. But that's not why I fell for him. He's kind, supportive, and values me for who I am, not for what I look like or what I earn. Once again, Sarah found out about my life and couldn't resist meddling. She started telling anyone who would listen that I was at it again, that I was a gold digger who only dated wealthy men. She even tried reaching out to some of my friends on social media, trying to plant seeds of doubt about my character. I had friends messaging me asking, "Why is your sister saying all this about you?" It was humiliating and exhausting. When David proposed, I was thrilled. I kept the wedding guest list small and debated whether to invite Sarah at all. But my parents begged me to include her. They said she is my sister and that she has changed, etc. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Big mistake. At the wedding, she drank too much and made a spectacle of herself. While the guests were enjoying their meals, Sarah decided it was the perfect time to loudly announce how lucky I was to be marrying someone rich. "I mean, come on," she said, slurring her words. "It's been her goal since high school, right? Always wanted a rich guy. Well, now she's got him." People were stunned. I could see the discomfort on David's face and the confusion in the eyes of our friends. My parents tried to shut her up, but again the damage was done. I spent the rest of the reception mortified, apologizing to guests and reassuring David that Sarah's words were meaningless. After that, I was done with her. I cut ties completely. I told my parents I never want to be in the same room with her, so not to invite me when she's over, also not to mention anything about her. After what she did at my wedding, they had no other choice but to agree. I thought that was the end of it. But years later, out of the blue, Sarah reached out. She said she wanted to talk. I said sorry, but I have no time. But she kept begging me, saying it's very important and it won't take a lot of time. I was wary but curious, so I agreed. We met, and she looked different. Tired, drained, not in a good mood like always. She started by telling me her sob story. Her husband had left her. She was now a single mother of 2, and she felt like her life was falling apart. I just don't feel like myself anymore, she said. I look old, I'm depressed, and I can't even imagine a man looking at me the way David looks at you. Then she hit me with the kicker. She wanted $100,000 for plastic surgery. Not just any plastic surgeon. She had picked the most expensive one in town. When I told her I didn't have that kind of money, she scoffed and said, "Just ask your husband, he's rich." That was the moment I snapped. I looked her in the eye and said, "You spent years calling me a gold digger, ruining my relationships, and humiliating me in front of everyone I cared about. And now you want to benefit from my so-called gold digging? You must be joking." I said I have nothing to say to her, and pleased to leave. She left crying, saying I was ruining her future and kicking her when she's down, that she was young when she said and did all those things, and that she has changed. And now I'm left wondering, am I the a-hole for standing my ground after everything she put me through? OP is definitely not the a-hole here. OP's sister spent years actively sabotaging OP. She didn't just make a few offhand comments or sibling jabs. She spread lies that destroyed OP's relationships, humiliated OP at school, and even ruined OP's wedding day. That's not normal sibling rivalry. That's toxic behavior that she never apologized for. And now, after all that, she wants OP to simply hand over $100,000 so she can fix her life? That's beyond unreasonable. She's shown no accountability for her actions and no willingness to repair the relationship. OP doesn't owe her anything, and honestly, even entertaining her request was more generous than she deserved. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Not the a-hole. What I find so telling is that your sister never once expressed regret for the years of torment she caused you. She never apologized for spreading those awful rumors in high school, for faking messages, or for the cruel things she said at your wedding. Instead, she shows up years later, after you've clearly moved on, and asks for a huge favor. That's not how trust and support work. Being family doesn't give her a free pass to treat you terribly and then show up only when she needs something. You made the right choice by saying no, because she hasn't done anything to earn your help or prove that she's changed. Family might be important, but self-respect and healthy boundaries are even more so. Not the a-hole. Your sister's sense of entitlement is off the charts. She spent years tearing you down, mocking you, ruining your relationships, and making your life miserable. And now that she's struggling, she doesn't come to you with an apology or any sign of remorse. Instead, she demands $100,000, an outrageous sum, like it's her right to ask for it. Even worse, she thinks it's fine to expect you to just take it from your husband, as if she has any say in how your marriage works or how you manage your money. Her lack of self-awareness is astounding. You're not ruining her future. She made choices that led her here, and she's facing the consequences of her actions. You have no obligation to bail her out. Absolutely not the a-hole. The audacity of your sister to accuse you of being a gold digger for years, when you've actually worked hard to build your own life, and then turn around and ask you to be a gold digger on her behalf is ridiculous. She's essentially admitting that the things she used to criticize you for are okay when they benefit her. Not once has she acknowledged the pain she caused you, apologized for the damage she did, or even attempted to rebuild trust. Instead, she just shows up with her hand out, expecting you to save her. That's not how relationships work. She's not entitled to your money, your husband's money, or your forgiveness. You're absolutely in the right for protecting yourself and your boundaries. My stepkids are generally good kids. They don't color on the walls or hit each other, or steal, or any of the behavioral issues that most of you lament. They have many excellent qualities. Stepdaughter 7 is one of my favorite people, and stepdaughter 12 can be nice when she's getting her way or getting attention. She's an extremely controlling person. She refuses to do chores. She eats with her hands. She's just really spoiled, which is not her fault. Whatever. I avoid her because she bosses everyone when she doesn't have control. But we don't actively fight. I leave her alone. She leaves me alone. We both count the days until she turns 18. Last week, my mother died, ovarian cancer. Stepdaughter 7 and I cuddled on the couch a few sweet times. I love that kid. Stepdaughter 12 has been smart, kind, enough to stay out of my way. Until today. Stepdaughter 12 asked if I was inheriting my mom's money. Sure, yes. Not really the number one issue on my mind right now, but I get why a kid would be curious. She gave me a ducking list. A list of things she wants me to buy her, with money I inherit from my mom who just died. Name brand crap, makeup, braces, a car. I felt my face burning. I felt myself ready to scream. Duck these parents who spoiled her. And you know what? It's not even her parents' fault anymore. Stepdaughter 12 is old enough to know better. Anyone with any common decency would know not to do that. I'm tired of blaming her parents. She's 12, not 2. I'm not proud of this, but I ripped up the list in front of her face. I didn't yell at her, just tore the paper and threw it at her. That was probably bad. I don't care. I don't care. I'm tired of being expected to be perfect while her bio parents let all her behavior slide. They do absolutely nothing when she demands shopping trips or is mean to her sister. But I have to be perfect? I love DW. I love SD7 like my own. I love BS1. I can't leave. In 6 years, stepdaughter 12 is going to leave. I will pay for her bedroom until then. But the minute the clock turns midnight on her 18th birthday, she's out of my house. I am so tired of this spoiled little princess. I would have told her your inheritance wasn't her business when she first asked. Now, a simple, "It's very rude to assume you have any claim on my inheritance," is enough. Your significant other should have a long talk with her about just how terrible a thing it was she did. She took the death of your mother, one of the worst things that can happen, and demeaned it, treated it like it was nothing, and treated your feelings like they don't matter. She needs to be made aware of just what a horrible, terrible thing it is she did. And if your significant other doesn't get this, you should throw something heavy at them. So, there's a long backstory to this. They both lived in our current home for about 10 years. They divorced a few years ago before I knew either of them, and most importantly, they have a kid together. It's 50-50 shared custody. He and I have been together for a year and a half and live together. Overall, we're pretty happy together. It's been heavenly living with him, mostly, and I've never been happier. He says the same. When I first met his ex, she was very friendly. She hugged and smiled at me every time I saw her. She would come over a lot, sometimes show up at the door without calling. She also would call and/or text every day. At first, I was okay with it because I figured it was in their child's best interest, and she seemed like a good person. She told me they had been more like roommates than a couple. The last 2 years of their relationship, they didn't have S, and before that, it was kind of rare. After a while, I noticed when she came over, she didn't talk to me and her daughter much. She spent most of the time standing facing my boyfriend and telling him stories of what she's doing. Which was fine at first, just kind of annoying. I genuinely wanted to be friends with her. When the pandemic started, my boyfriend and I decided to live together because we were together all the time anyway. I know, only fools rush in. I was staying at his house 24/7, noticed the house had a lot of her stuff here. She still kept makeup in the master bedroom drawer. She had over 50 cardboard boxes of her and her mom's stuff in the basement, and even her old wedding dress in a closet upstairs. Every drawer and every closet was jam-packed full of stuff. It's a huge house, so it took me a while to realize how much stuff she personally had here. One time, I was cleaning out the spare bedroom, and there was a huge bin full of stuffed animals, like a lot of them. I took them out, and there was a D in the bottom of the bin. It was too much for me. I love decorating and organizing, and this crap was nasty. I gently nudged him to ask her to get her stuff out, and he did. He was happy to do it and said he's been asking her to move the boxes and junk for over 8 years. Plus, he bought her a house where she could store it, a big car to move it, offered to help her move it, and had plenty of time to do it. He pays her alimony and she won't have to work for a very long time, so she doesn't work at all. The day she came over to move her stuff, it was very emotional for her, and she stopped being nice to me afterwards. I was in a work meeting when she arrived and didn't get a chance to say much to her. I was super nice though. After that day, she tried to convince him that he shouldn't date me and hinted about getting back together with him. He told me all about it. He also would constantly get calls from her asking him to do her favors. Then, about a month after she moves her stuff out, she shows up on our porch and tells him she bought a house a few doors down the street. I can see it from the porch. It's a huge house right on the corner, and it was super weird. She completely ignored me when announcing her news to him, even though I was holding his hand and standing in front of her too. Not once did she look at me. So that sucked, really bad. Fast forward. We went out of town and she offered to watch our pets, said she missed them. She got the dogs and he got the cats. He tells me this and thinks it'll be okay. I'm like, what the duck? No way, bad idea. He promised she was trustworthy. I gave in and said okay, but this is it, the last time. If she does something crazy and attention-seeking again, I'm not trusting her anymore. A week later, we come home to our lawn furniture, mantel decorations, a pot and dishes, decorations in the book room, a picture on the wall, all gone. I'm pretty sure she went through everything. She stopped coming over after that, and we installed an outdoor camera system around the house to be sure. Today, things changed while he and I were at work. She comes in the house. Here's what I could see from the porch camera. She walked in the house with their kid. The child walks out shortly after, not the ex, and then runs back in saying mama. Then they both come out. She has the code to the front door, and even if she didn't, their child would let her in. I want to install indoor cameras now. I wish she would have waited to come over when we were both home. I would totally feel different about that. Her in our house alone freaks me out. I need advice on what to do going forward, please. We are really making an effort to keep the peace with her, but it's exhausting and seems like every time we feel like we take a step forward, she does something hurtful or disrespectful. Wait, she stole things from your house and you didn't report her? I think this could escalate. I think you and your boyfriend should consider moving elsewhere. She still thinks she owns that house. Full security system and discussion of real boundaries with partner. Like telling kid it's not okay to let her in when not home and change codes and locks. This should not be your issue to deal with. Your dude is failing here. He has been for a while. You need to talk to him and say, this woman has made me uncomfortable in my own home many times now. This is not something I want to or should have to deal with. Why are you allowing this? Edit to say you are absolutely underreacting. I feel sad to read you asking if you're overreacting. They have this history. She's done weird stuff. She also has been highly disrespectful and inappropriate to your relationship and privacy. Most women I know would have already flipped out on her. I'm proud of you that you haven't. But quit backing down and feeling bad. You haven't done anything. Both your boyfriend and her are wrong, and it needs to change. I, 28 female now, have a younger cousin, 23 female, who is the princess of the family. I mean it not as an insult. She's quite literally the belle of my maternal family, and even I fall in the category that never said no to her growing up. Horrible policy, I know. This Christmas, she asked me to pay a lot of money for a Christmas party that involved no one in my family and would not see my adoptive daughter as part of the family. I refused, and my cousin stopped contacting me. She didn't even call for my birthday, which was fine. Well, turn the corner to this weekend. I'm currently settling in a new house. It's nothing fantastical, but it has 5 rooms. 1 my dedicated office, 1 for my daughter, and 1 my boyfriend's office. We both work from home and needed the space. There's a nice yard, nothing too big, and we have an extra room downstairs. It's an add-on, not part of the original house. We're going to turn it into a visit room for our parents, and if necessary, expand it to make it a more permanent space, should my boyfriends or my parents come to need to live with us. I decided to show it to my mom, and of course, she got excited. She told her brother, my cousin's father, and he went and told my cousin. Now, time zone distance caused me to be a few hours behind most of my relatives. My cousin called me at 5 in the morning, begging me to turn that extra space into a studio apartment for her and her fiancé. I told her that no, that space is for parents, but she is welcome to plan a visit, or we can arrange a summer over or something. I did tell her I don't feel comfortable with her fiancé coming, since I haven't met him yet. She got mad and said I am blessed with so much money. She has a lot more than me, and can afford to let them live with us. Well, I decided to ask how much she would pay for rent. Well, how dare I ask for rent? Where are my Christian values? I hung up on her and told her she will not be living with me, and she's lucky if I send her a birthday card. Now, thanks to a personal stalker I gained in my old town, I closed all social media, as has my boyfriend. My other cousin, 19 male, actually texted me screenshots of posts his sister made. Apparently, she accused me of promising a life of luxury in the US, only to back away because I decided to adopt an illegitimate child. My daughter was not illegitimate. Her birth father died, and her mother had to leave the country, and was living with a man in sin. Aside from some pretty crazy people from her church, pretty much all her friends are calling her a moocher, since she is well known to be more than capable to live without even having to work. My favorite response is from a kid I remember back from when I was a senior in high school, reminding her that she used to brag how she had more money than Hollywood stars. She doesn't have that much, and could live in Dubai, also a lie. Now, apparently, my uncle and aunt think it's my fault my cousin is getting roasted in Facebook. I really don't care as much as I would had I not had to deal with she who shall not be named. At this point, I just go to my future wedding guest list and cross names off. As far as I see it, less money to waste during reception. I am partial to inviting her little brother to live with me, since my new town has an amazing university, and I can certainly afford having him with me for a few years. Maybe even pay for a part of his tuition. Would think long and hard about how difficult life would be for the cousin's brother, should he go live with OP, plus have OP pay part of his tuition. It's a great and giving gesture though, and it'd make entitled cousin furious. Isn't the cousin planning to live in sin too, since she wanted to move in with her fiancé? My father remarried when I was 14 and my sister was 10 and stepsister was 6. I've never considered my stepsister my actual sister because my father and stepmom really didn't make us mingle a lot. When I was 18, I left the house and went to college. I've been quite successful in my endeavors since, and am one of the founders of a moderate-sized company. My sister got married a couple years ago, and I gave her a large sum to help her with the wedding. She was greatly appreciative. She didn't need the money, but I insisted on helping her pay for the portion of the wedding because I wanted to. My stepsister is now getting married. I'm happy for her, but really am not too bothered by it. She asked me for some money, but I refused. Like I said earlier, I don't really care for her and barely meet her. Frankly, I thought she was crazy to even ask me, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt. My father called me and asked me to help her because she doesn't really have a lot of money. I feel bad for her, but it isn't my problem. My father said I could start bonding with my stepsister through this, but I don't really want to. I told him I'd think about it, and he seemed quite happy. How do I tell him I won't be sponsoring her wedding or want a relationship with her? She asked you? Wow, how entitled. Dad's just going to have to deal with it. No harm, no foul. She knows you're not close and asked? If she does not have a lot of money, she should have a small budget wedding, not going all out thinking she can get your money. The entitlement, dang. Just tell him that you are not going to, because you are not close, and that you do not want to have a relationship with her. Ah, yes, you can start bonding just as soon as it's financially convenient for her. Tell your dad that if he wants the step-siblings to be close, it needs to come from a place of genuinely just wanting to, not because someone needs a meal ticket.